Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 24. Tataschava pracham imam vipricche visarabhya vipra iti kirtatayam sarvatmanha mriyamanesha krityam suddham cha tatrastrabhyabhiyuktaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the king has placed two questions before the learned sages. The first question is, what is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And the second question is, what is the specific duty of one who is to die very shortly? Out of the two, the question relating to the dying man is most important because everyone is a dying man, either very shortly or after 100 years. The duration of life is immaterial, but the duty of a dying man is very important. Maharaj Parikshit placed these two questions before Sukdev Goswami also on his arrival, and practically the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning from the second canto up to the last, the 12th canto, deals with these two questions. The conclusion arrived at thereof is that devotional service of Lord Sri Krishna, as it is confirmed by the Lord himself in the last phases of the Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in relation to everyone's permanent duty in life. Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of this fact, but he wanted the great sages assembled there to unanimously give their verdict on his conviction so that he might be able to go on with his confirmed duty without controversy. He has especially mentioned the word Suddha or perfectly correct. For transcendental realization or self-realization, many processes are recommended by various classes of philosophers. Some of them are first-class methods, and some of them are second or third-class methods. The first-class method demands that one give up all other methods and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus be saved from all sins and their reactions. Hare Krishna. I hope all of you knows the context of today's class, the words we are dealing with today. Parikshit Maharaj is asking an important question. What is the duty of a dying man? This is the most important question in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I just want to tell you about a person. His name was Amar. Parents have given this name, Amar. Generally, parents want to give good names to the children. Amar is a very good name. Why? What does it mean? Know that. Live eternally. So parents have chosen this name for their child, Amar. And Amar was very successful in his business, in his profession, earned a lot of money, lot of respect in the society. And he was invited by who's and who of the different countries in the world. He has a lot of relatives and friends around him, and he was quite happy in his life. One day, he got a call from his family doctor. And what he says? He said, there's a bad news. What is it? He got a cancer, and it is the last stage of the cancer. Anybody who listens this news definitely will get shocked. And so it happened with Amar. He was very shocked. So he asked the doctor, how much time do he have? Doctor says, can't say. Then approximately they told maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. Amar immediately left whatever he was doing, and he gathered all his family and friends, especially his seniors, and tried to take consultation from them. What next? He was asking almost the similar question what Parikshit Maharaj is asking. What should I do now? That was his question. And he knows that he's about to die in few months. So all his relatives, they were trying to give him some suggestions. They told, you should invest some money so that your family will get a lot of returns. He already invested a lot of money for his family in an insurance company. And the logo of the insurance company is जीवन के साथ भी, जीवन के बाद भी. It's a very famous insurance company. You can see it. So when he was going around the documents of his insurance company, how much returns his family will get, and what he can write in his bill about what should be done with that money. He can do some charity, some philanthropic work. So when he read this line, जीवन के साथ भी और जीवन के बाद भी, he was not convinced. He thought to himself, जीवन के बाद what? Maybe my family will get something. What about me? What I will get? Shouldn't we all should ask the same questions to ourselves? We don't ask because we know that we have a lot of time. Like Amar. Generally, old people dies. That's the misconception in the society. So when you ask some old people, what is your age? They reply in the same way. They say 80-year-old, or 70-year-old, or maybe 90-year-old. Because you were asking an old person, so he was replying like this. But if you ask a young person, what is your age? They will also reply in the same way. I am 40-year-old, I am 30-year-old. If you ask teenager, they also use the word old. Although they don't look old, but they know that they are getting older day by day. You ask some teenager, they will say 15-year-old, 20-year-old. You ask some school-going child, what's your age? They also say, I'm 5-year-old, I'm 10-year-old. Maybe you can ask an infant baby. Definitely you can't ask because they will not reply. But you can ask the mother of the infant baby, what's the age of your baby? She will also reply, 8-month-old. That means we all know somewhere that we are getting older. What is the meaning of getting older? Countdown to death has begun. And when it begins? At the time of birth itself. Baby become 1 day old, 2 day old. Means countdown has begun. That means all of us can die any moment. But still we are not asking this question, which Amar has asked and which Parikshit Maharaj is asking. What should be the duty of a person, especially who is about to die? We should ask, isn't it? Now some people may say, why we have to talk about death? Why should we be so pessimistic? We should be optimistic. In our history, we have so many people like this. Even learned intellectual peoples, they don't want to talk about that. If you talk about that with your parents, they'll say, hey, don't talk. Don't talk all this. People want to be optimistic always. They don't want to see the reality of life. Some people who are intellectuals, who are learned, who have read the Shastras, they will also argue that no need to talk about that, no need to bother about that. Anyway, we don't die. We are soul, we are Atma, Aham Brahmasmi. Why to talk about that then? Soul never dies. Some people misinterpret the meaning of Aham Brahmasmi as I am God. Aham Brahmasmi means I am a spirit soul. I am Brahman. It doesn't mean I am God. It means I am part and parcel of Par Brahman. Yes, second meaning is true. Aham Brahmasmi means we don't die. Because we are spirit soul, we don't decay, we don't die. But soul keep changing its position from one phase to another phase. As Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So we should think about those consequences. People can give some arguments. No, Bhagavad Gita itself says, Na jayate miryate va kadachin. Yes, soul never takes birth and do not die ever. But it has to go through the phases and different forms of life. 8.4 billion different forms of life. And who chooses? We chooses. When we chooses? Today, while we are living. So that's why we should talk about that. Because that is the transition period when the choice is logged. Every day you can think of anything. But whatever you think at the time of death, that choice, that ambition, that consciousness, those perceptions get logged. That's why that matters. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, in the 8th chapter. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Whatever bhavam, whatever thought or perception, smaran you are contemplating on. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Tajyati ante kalevaram. Ante means at the last moment. Tajyati, when you are leaving, when you are giving up, kalevaram, the body. That time, whatever thought you are contemplating on, it will be logged. Yesterday you may be thinking something, but today you can think opposite also. You are free. But whatever you think at the time of death, that will be logged. And that will determine your future journey. That means the state after the death. So that's why we should talk about that and we should know what is our duty. Because all of us, as Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, are going to die later or sooner. Time is immaterial. That's why this question is relevant for all of us. This Parikshit Maharaj is asking, actually for us, he already knew the answer. He comes in the dynasty of Pandavas. He already knew. He's asking for us. Okay, just consider that there is a race happening. Olympic races. So there are tracks. And on the tracks, you have to go multiple times. Maybe lap 1, lap 2, lap 3. Our life is also like this. We are on this journey of life, on the track of life, and we have multiple laps. Krishna told about that in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe, Kaumaryam Yauvanam Jara. So the lap number 1 is Kaumaryam, the childhood phase. Lap number 2 is Yauvanam. Lap number 3, Jara, old age. Prahlad Maharaj recommend the intelligent is the one who try to put his endeavor in the first lap itself and take a lead. Kaumar acharet pragno. Pragna means the intelligent. So if you are intelligent, you will try to take a lead in the first lap itself. So bhakti should begin in the childhood, at the age of 5. So you take the lead in this race of life. Okay, suppose you win the race. What is the trophy? It's not a money, it's not a check. It's not a free pass for the world tour. It's a pass for Goloka Vrindavan, to go to the spiritual world. Prabhupada says, back home, back to Godhead. And if you do not pass in this race, what then? One more loop, and one more loop, one more lap, and keep going perpetually. Until unless you finish this race. How to finish this race? That is the question of today's class. Parikshit Maharaj is asking that question. What we should do to finish it forever? Answer will come. Sukdev Goswami will give the answer. When we talk about death, who comes in the mind? Who comes in your mind? Yamraj? Yes, correct. He is the lord of the planet of the deaths. That personified. So let's see what he talks about death. How he sees death. It means in the Bhagavatam. You know Hiranyakashipu? Hiranyakashipu had a brother. What was his name? Oh, everybody knows. Hiranyaksha was killed, in fact liberated, by an incarnation of the Lord. What was that incarnation? Good. Nobody is sleeping, that means. So when Lord Varaha killed or liberated Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu became very angry. He wanted to take a revenge. So when he went to meet his mother and his sister-in-law, what was the name of the Hiranyakashipu's mother? Diti. What was the name of Hiranyakashipu's sister-in-law, the wife of Hiranyaksha? Rusabhanu. So when they did the final rites of his brother, Hiranyakashipu and the family members, they finished. Then Hiranyakashipu was talking to his mother and sister-in-law and the nephews, the sons of Hiranyaksha, and trying to console them because they were very much aggrieved. So that time, he told one story. Very interesting story. All of us should try to remember this story, then we are always prepared for the death. So he's telling the story to mother, sister-in-law, and the nephews. And the story goes like this. He tells, there's a kingdom of Usinara. And in this kingdom, there was a king called Suyaga. He was a very powerful king, and he was maintaining his kingdom very nicely. He was taking care of everybody very nicely. And very usual, kings have a lot of enemies and they have a lot of wars and battles. So Suyaga was also engaged in one of the battle with the enemy. And he was defeated. His army was completely vanished. And he got a lot of arrows on his heart, on his chest. And he died on the battlefield. And when the Kuns, they got this news that the king Suyaga has died, they were not able to withstand. They start running out of the palace, came to the battlefield to see by themselves. They were not able to believe this. When they came into the battlefield, they saw the dead bodies of the soldier everywhere. It was like an ocean of dead bodies. Somebody's arms are piled up somewhere, somebody's legs are piled up somewhere. And when they saw the body of the Suyaga, this king Suyaga, his teeth was tightly clenched along with his lip, because he was very much in agony at the time of death. And he died in that state. As soon as they saw the body of their husband, all the Kuns start crying. Not only crying, they start wailing. They start shouting. They were telling to themselves, we also don't want to live anymore. We want to go to the same destination where our husband has gone. We have no meaning in our life now. And they were crying so loudly, so bitterly, that this sound was heard by Yamraj in Yamaloka. And Yamraj, out of curiosity, came out from the Yamaloka. What is happening? And he came down to this battlefield, where the body of Suyaga and his army is there, and these Kuns are crying. And they want to give up their body. So Yamraj came there, but not in his original form as Yamraj. He came there as a small boy. And he approached these Kuns. And he says, I am a small boy, and you are grown-up people. I thought you are intelligent. I am a boy, I may not be intelligent. But you are crying. It looked like you are not very intelligent. Nobody should cry. Because souls keep coming and going. It's a law of nature. People take birth and they die. It's a law of nature. Intelligent people should not cry. Although you have grown up, but you are not very intelligent. I am being a child, I know this much. This is the law of nature. And who make the law of nature? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suate sa characharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. The law of nature works under the superintendence of Krishna, under his supervision. So Yamraj, being as a small boy, continued to give instruction to these crying wives of Suyaga. He gave one example of a money. Sometime you might have lost your purses, right? People lose their money, their purse. And shockingly, you get it back also. Nobody sees it. Somehow, nobody pick it up, and you get it back. And sometimes people keep money in the very safe locker, and still they may lose it. Thief comes and robs the bank itself. This is an example given by Yamraj as a small boy to these wives, that see, nothing is in our control. You may lose money in the marketplace, and without anybody being touched or seeing that money, you may get it back. And sometimes you keep money in a very safe locker, and you may lose it. He says, he gave his own example. He says, I am a small child. I don't have a parents. I just roam around in the forest and see I am still living. Somehow the wild animals have not attacked me. And there are so many people who are very safe in their palaces and dying. So we should understand that nothing is in our hand. And it's true. A lot of time people get some bullets, swords, and they still survive. Doctors don't know how they survive. And some people who are simply their house and they sleep in the bathroom and they die. Amazing. Doctors can't even tell how it happens. Sometimes they think the patient's condition is very critical, he may not survive, but he survives. Sometimes very normal case and the patient didn't survive, he dies. They are shocked. And there was a such doctor in US, and he has written an advertisement in the newspaper. I want to understand. He was a cardiologist, a heart doctor, heart surgeon. And he wrote that I have seen that life slips from between my fingers. And somehow one of the disciples of Prabhupada got to see that newspaper, he brought to the Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, I will answer. Answer is in Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada write a letter and explain what soul is and what are the principles governs its coming and going, its existence. But not many people ask this question. Although they experience such kind of baffling situations every day in their life. Maybe that's why Parikshit Maharaj is asking on our behalf, because we are not asking these questions. One more explanation Yamraj gave as a boy to the wives of Suyaga. He says, for whom you are crying? You are crying for your husband is right here. The body of Suyaga is right here. So why you are crying for? And you are trying to talk to that body and that body is not responding. So then he gives the example that the body has senses, but they don't work unless there's a prana in the body. Prana is a life force, vital air in the body. Then he says, even if there's a prana, still the body may not work. Because it's not the prana which hears or talks. It's not the prana which hears and talks. And he quoted one nice verse. Na srota na anubhaktyam. Srota means hearing. So it's not the prana which is hearing when you are talking to a person. Na anubhaktam. Neither he is speaking. It's not the prana which is speaking. Mukhyo api atra mahan ashuhu. Although it's a very chief principle in the body, for body to be living. Asu means this vital air. Mukhya means the chief. Without it, the senses cannot work. Yes, tu yah indriyavan atma. Because all the senses are possessed by the soul, not by the prana. But even the presence of soul also is not enough. There are senses, there is a prana, and there is a soul. Still, it will not work. Because everything works by the sanction of the super soul in the body. So for whom you are crying? You are crying for the senses, or the prana, or the soul, or the super soul. First to confirm for whom you are crying. They didn't have an answer, and then they understood. There's no need to cry for the body. What matters is soul and super soul. So then they gave up crying. To further convince them, so that they should not cry after going home also, Yamraj, as a small boy, he told one story. You want to listen to the story? Everybody likes a story. That's why Yamraj is telling a story. So Yamraj is telling a story to the wives of the Suyaga who are crying. And who is telling whole this story, whole this narration? Hiranyakashipu to Mother Diti and sister-in-law and the nephews. So this boy continued the story. He says, there was a beautiful forest, green forest, having lot of trees, fruits, lakes, mountains. And there was one couple bird, Kulinga birds, one pair of birds. They had a nest on a branch of a tree, and they have so many small baby birds. Every day they used to go out and bring some grains, some food for the babies. So one day, they both have gone out, the mother and father birds. They wanted to bring some grain, some food for the baby birds. So they were going from tree to tree, getting some fruit or some grains. And there came one hunter. The hunter put a net to capture the birds. And somehow, the mother bird, the female bird, got caught in the net. And she tries very hard to get out of the net, but she cannot get out. And the father bird, the male bird sitting on the tree, he's watching everything. And he's lamenting. He's also helpless. He's lamenting, what is this cruel providence? Why such thing is happening with us? We also ask so many times, right? So many unfavorable things happen and we say, why it's happening to us? And he was thinking, shame on me, I can't even help my wife. I'm so helpless. We all face this situation of helplessness sometime in our lives. And then he was thinking of the children, the baby children, the babies, bird babies, that they're waiting in the nest. And without the mother, how will I maintain them? And so finally he decided to give up his life. He thought, what is the use of my life? And he was lamenting like this. And while he was lamenting for his wife and for children, for himself, his helplessness, this hunter was focusing, he was aiming the arrow on this bird, the male bird. He was hiding somewhere in the distance and aiming. And while this bird was lamenting over the wife's situation, the children's situation, and his situation, the hunter shot the arrow. And it hit the target. And the male bird died. Then this boy, who is Yamraj, he is telling to the wives, you are lamenting on the death of your husband, but you don't know your death is also approaching. Similarly to the case of this male bird who was lamenting for the female birds and the children and himself, and he died. Your death is also near, because everyone's death is near. Countdown has already begun at the time of birth itself. So you should not lament, you should prepare. You should understand what is your duty, so that you can come out of the cycle of birth and death. So that is the message from Yamraj himself. Who else can tell us more about that other than Yamraj? And he himself is telling. So it's a very instructing story. Now same Yamraj has become Yiddishtra. You know this? Mahabharata, Yiddishtra was Yamraj himself. And he was in forest one time, and they were very thirsty, all the Pandavas and Mother Kunti, they were thirsty, and they went to one lake, tried to take the water. Then what happened? You know, everybody knows. Yaksh Krishna. The four brothers, they didn't answer. They all died by drinking that water. Yiddishtra agreed to answer the Prashna of the Yaksha, who was the owner of the lake. So he asked so many questions. The most popular question, what is the most wonderful thing in this world? And Yiddishtra replied, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti iha yam alayam. Yam alayam means the house of Yamraj. Sesa isthavaram icchanti kim ascharyam yatha param. Every moment, ahani ahani, bhutani means living entities. Gachanti, they are going. Yam alayam, yamloka, means they are dying. Every moment people are dying. Sesa means those who are remaining back. They are who are not died yet. Icchanti, they are thinking that they will not die. They want to live. They think they will continue. Sthavaram, they will be status quo. Kim ascharyam ataparam. What could be most wonderful than this? And it's true. We all think we will live forever. That's why the names like Amar comes. You know how many people dies every year in the world? Calculation says 6 crore 80 lakh people die every year. If I translate it to month, it says 57 lakh people dies every month. Every day, 1,86,000 people die every day. And if you want to calculate per minute, per second, 130 people die per minute. And still we never think, what is the duty of a dying man? We never ask this question. Parikshit Maharaj is asking for all of us. We had a drama on Brahmotsava day, the drama of Chitraketu. I hope some of you have seen. So Chitraketu didn't have any children. He was very sad. One day, Angira Rishi visited his palace, and king requested, prayed for a blessing for a child. Angira Muni blessed. He got a child, but he died after a few days. And then he was very sad. Again, Angira Muni with Narad Muni, they both visited his palace. And then they saw Chitraketu was very sad. The Narad Muni brought this living entity back to that child's body. And he said, now you speak. Your parents are crying. And you know what he asked? He said, who parents? Which parents? I have been in so many different species of life. 84 lakh species and so many times, loops. So which parents are they? I don't remember, he says. And he gave one example to understand this logic, how the transmigration works. Very nice example. He says, the child says, the living entity who entered into the body of the child says, Yatha bastuni panyani. Bastuni means object, commodities. Panyani means in the trades. Hem adini tatha tatha. Hema means gold, the commodities and the gold, because gold was the currency. So in the trade, so many commodities and gold keep transferring from one person, one shop to another shop, one person to another person, tatha, so many places, here and there. They don't stay at one place. Paryatanti naresu evam jivo yonesu kartrasu. He says, same thing in human life we see. Jiva, the living entity, is doing tourism. He used the word paryatanti. Paryatan means tourism. So living entities are on tourism in this world. And they keep accepting different parents every time. Sometime in human species, sometime in animal species, sometime in bird species, aquatics. And how he named it? The child named it tourism, paryatan. Living entity is on constant tourism. And it will continue till we reach our home. Where is the home? Goloka Vrindavan. See, Prabhupada writes, back to home, back to Godhead. So unless you reach home, your tourism will continue, your tour will continue. This is the example given by this small baby who was reborn by mercy of Narad Muni. There's one more interesting episode. This story is told by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, the guru of spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. He says there was a saint, sannyasi, and he was going through the town. Sannyasis keep roaming. So he happened to meet one Rajaputra, one prince, son of a king. And he paid obeisance and he asked for blessings. So he gave a blessing. He says, Chiram Jiva, you always live. Because if you die, you will have a hell. As long as you are living, you are enjoying your life. You are happy. But after that, it will not be the same. So you keep living. Chiranjiva. Then when the sannyasi went ahead, he happened to meet one Muni Putra, one brahmachari, self-controlled. So he also asked for the blessings from the sannyasi, because sannyasi is the highest status. He says, Ma Jiva, Ma Jiva. You don't live, you don't live. Because you have so much tapasya in your life. And because you have done so much tapasya already, once you die, you will have a very blissful after that. So better you don't live. Then he happened to meet a butcher, animal killer. He also asked for the blessing and he said, Ma Jiva, Ma Mara. You don't die and you don't live. When you are living, your life is hell. And after that, anyway, you are going to hell. So you don't die and you don't live. Both are hellish for you. Then as he proceeded further, he met one Vaishnava devotee. One bhakta, one devotee. And he also asked for the blessing. And he says, Jiva va marova. Whether you live or you die, it's all same for you. All blissful. Devotees, when they are living, they are serving Krishna. When they leave the body, they will go back to Godhead. They will serve Krishna there. So same for you. It's all blissful. Service to Krishna is our constitutional position. And when we are in our constitutional position, we are blissful. So Jivova, Marova, it doesn't make sense. There's no difference for us. It's all blissful. So see, devotional service is something which make you abhayam. It make you fearless of death. Whether you are living or death, both are same. In both situations, you will be serving Krishna and getting bliss in exchange. That is why this question comes, the duty. In all circumstances, and especially at time of death, because every time is a time of death. Any time you can die. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, Krishna says, Tasmat sarvesu kaleshu ma manusmara yuddhacha. Therefore, every moment, you should keep thinking about me, be conscious of me and keep doing your duty. Because any moment could be the last moment. Now, people don't understand this difference between a devotee dying and a non-devotee dying. They say, what? Everybody dies. It's all same finally. No, it's not same. Prabhupada gave one nice analogy to understand this difference. When a non-devotee dies, what he experiences? He experiences the same emotions, same fear, which a rat experiences in the mouth of a cat. When rat comes in the grip of the cat's mouth, he sees Yamraj, he sees his death, and very fearful. What? When a kitten, baby cat, when mother cat takes the baby cat in its grip to replace it somewhere else on the more safer place, it doesn't experience any fear. It's abhayam. It experiences care by the mother, the protection by the mother. Same thing. Devotee experiences care and protection of the Lord at the last moment, just like the kitten. So the choice is with us, whether we want to be a devotee or we want to be a non-devotee, and that makes difference at the last moment of our life. And that difference will continue. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. That decides our destination. So these questions what Parikshit Maharaj asked, what should be our duty? In all circumstances, we all know the answer. What is our duty in all circumstances? Glorify the Lord, chant the holy name of the Lord, be conscious of the Lord. Sing, dance, and pray. Devotee's life is always blissful. Somebody asked these questions to Prabhupada. What if, whole life you are serving Krishna and you are not enjoying the material world, the so-called material world happiness? And what if you, at the last moment of your life, you get to know that there is no God, all this, what the scripture says, is just a story. There is no afterlife. And how you will feel? Prabhupada says, we have enjoyed whole our life. We had nice festivals, nice kirtan, dance, prasadam, devotee association. We had a blissful life. We are not at loss in any way. But what about you? You have not practiced devotional service. And what if at the last moment of your life you get to know that there's an afterlife, there's a law of karma acting? What you will go through? See, this is the intelligent thing to think of. So devotees are never at loss. Krishna tells this to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, you declare, my devotees will never perish. So this is a message we have to take from today's class. If we are engaged in the service of Krishna, under the guidance of a bona fide guru like Prabhupada, then we are always safe. We'll be taken care. Any questions? Please. Somebody can pass.
Sir, after listening, reading, understanding Gita again and again, again and again, again and again, coming here again and again, again and again, cleverness, bluffness, crookedness should not be diminished.
Yes. Everybody got the question? Question is, even if we are practicing devotional life, still there are some qualities, unwanted qualities, still we find in some of the devotees. That's the question, right? Yes. Krishna answered in the 8th chapter. He says, Abhyas yoga yuktena. 8th chapter, 8th sloka. Abhyas yoga yuktena chetasana anyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partha anuchintayan. So we feel sometimes that I am practicing Krishna consciousness from so many months or so many years, and still, or not me, somebody else is practicing, and we are observing that some anarthas are there in that person or some are in me, although we are practicing. The time what we are practicing is very small if you compare to the time what you have not practiced Krishna consciousness. From millions of lifetimes, we are away from Krishna. We are involved in indratripti, sense gratification. And those conceptions and perceptions are stored in our chittam. Now recently we have taken, maybe few months or few years, this practice of chanting, association. It takes some time. So there may be some stains, and it may take some time. What Krishna promises, it will go one day. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu promises, Cheto darpana marjanam, those spots will go from the mirror of your heart just by chanting. So it's just a matter of time. We need to have dharya. Goswami told us, Utsaha nishchaya dharya. Have patience. Don't worry if some anarthas are still there, some spots or stains are still there. There's a famous advertisement, Daag achhe hain. Heard? One day it will go. Those dags will go. Those spots, those stains. Cheto darpana marjanam. It will be cleaned. Any other question? And even if we have those anarthas with us, Prabhupada says, I have a backdoor key. It's not like we will become perfect by ourselves and we will qualify ourselves to go back to Godhead. May not be. Prabhupada says, don't worry, I have a backdoor key. I will take you. Actually, last Sunday, I think you may be aware from within last 10 days, the events happened. We had celebrated a Brahmotsava. So one of the senior devotees was telling that there's a contract. Bhakti means there's a contract. Contract between a bhakta and Bhagwan. So there's a contract between Prabhupada and Krishna. There's a contract. What is that contract? Whomever Prabhupada will refer or recommend, Krishna will accept that. Whatever process Prabhupada will recommend, Krishna will be agreeing with that process. So if Prabhupada makes some changes and he recommends some process for the devotees, Krishna is in agreement with that changes and with that process. A lot of people cannot understand or appreciate this. But this is the truth. In fact, Krishna says, you should consider Acharya as good as me. If he is changing, he is saying something, it will be in agreement with me. It will happen. It is in effect. Just like mercifully, Prabhupada has set 16 mala, the limit of 16 mala, minimum limit, not maximum limit. It was not the limit before. Prabhupada made this change, and Krishna is in agreement with that change. That is a contract. That's why Prabhupada confidently says, you just hold on to my dhoti. I will drag you back to Godhead. That is the power of Acharya. Only Acharya can say like this. Not everybody can say like this. Maybe so many people want to become Guru, but can they say like this? No, they cannot say like this. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.